Right now, the world is a pretty bad place and the future can often look bleak. But these issues are only made worse by the endless content machine, propagating and magnifying all of these problems and creating by-problems of their own, to the point where it's literally ruining people's relationships. Breakup over partners' obsessive consumption of political and social issues in YouTube content. My partner has been consuming hours and hours of political content and social issues to the point that she has a doom view of the world and no hope. Mean world syndrome, a classic problem created by excessive consumption of negativity online. Most people in the West have difficult lives, but it's really not that bad. You wake up every morning, you grab a Starbucks coffee, you have plenty of food, you have work, you have money, maybe not as much money as you want, but life goes on. You're probably going to survive, you're probably not going to die from day to day. But mean world syndrome is this problem where you look at the world through the lens of the news, and actually the world seems to be a darker and worse place than what it actually is. And this is exactly what seems to have happened to this woman who this guy has actually broken up with. All she talks about is how bad a direction our country is going, and the system is rigged and there is no hope. I try to change the subject to more fun issues, but she keeps saying she has more important things to worry about and goes on about the political or social issues that she consumes from these YouTube videos. I've fallen into this exact same trap where I started watching Piers Morgan Uncensored. I started listening to podcasts that constantly talk about issues and problems and war. It can weigh on your mind, constantly hearing about negative things. You see, the human mind naturally listens to negative stuff more than positive stuff. What benefit is there to the survival of you as a human if you just hear fun things and, are aware of positive things and great things in the world? Actually, it makes way more sense primordially to survive, to know about the dangers, to know about the threats. So everyone's mind is instinctually tuned to look for the negative in things because that's where the threat lies. And so when you consume media on the internet that is negative or is about politics or real world issues, you're going to go to the negative and you're going to be basically exposed to the negative, and it can actually transform your mind in the way that you work based on the content that you consume. If you like this kind of content and you want to support me, go check the top link in the description. It's a totally free community where I talk about this kind of stuff as well, but it's completely free. Go check it out. Have you seen breakups over this? Is this content meant to get people to behave this way? I get being informed of the news and current events, but to be so influenced by it that it harms your outlook is what gets me. So I mean, this guy or girl has actually broken up with their partner because she has become enraptured by political issues and political content creators. My previous girlfriend that I had, my ex-girlfriend now, one of the reasons I broke up with her is because she became enraptured in a certain type of topic online through TikTok and through podcasts and YouTube. And that was religion. And listen, I have nothing against religion. Seriously, I actually think religion's super important. But when people get enraptured in that and they kind of get influenced to the point where it actually changes them at a deeper level and changes kind of the person you originally knew to a different person, whether for good or bad, that can definitely get in the way of relationships. And it wasn't the only factor, but it was one of the factors as to why I actually ended that relationship. And furthermore, as a byproduct of this change in personality, there was the aspect of her actually getting more into it and hooked on that kind of content. And so she would spend more time consuming content. And it didn't really matter to me what the kind of content was, although it was changing her personality. The issue was that it was the time, okay? It was constantly consuming content, constantly on her phone and constantly listening to these podcasts. And it actually got in the way of our relationship. And that's exactly what's happened here. And to be honest, I don't know if this guy is exaggerating. I really can relate to him because, to be quite honest, when you're with someone who is constantly on their phone, who, when you try and change the subject and talk about something else, but they can only talk about that one thing because maybe they have OCD and they're just, obsessing over this idea right now, that can be kind of frustrating. Yet another example, like I said at the beginning, of not only social media propagating and magnifying the issues in the real world and creating this mean world syndrome effect, but actually taking up our time and our attention away from our loved ones and our family, relationships. And do you know what? Social media, people don't talk about it. This is the issue that content consumption and the wider attention economy has on real people. It gets in the way of relationships and it ends relationships. I've seen it firsthand. So look, I hope this video has served as just yet another reminder to get rid of your social media and have a healthy digital diet. Make sure that you're having a healthy connection with your phone, with your laptop, and with the content that you're consuming. And honestly, what I say is, with the content you consume, just try and consume stuff that's lighthearted, okay? Educational content like this, stuff about reading, meditation, journaling, self-improvement stuff in general, I think you can't really go wrong with it. Even if you kind of get obsessive over it, it's not going to be as bad as getting obsessive over something like negative, like the news or the wars or anything going on in the world, because you can develop this mean world syndrome where you kind of have this nihilistic outlook on everything in life. And so come back to the analog world, get away from technology, come back to reading books, come back to talking, conversation with friends and family, come back to the trees, go outside, go for a walk, get in the fresh air, and just get away from this whole attention economy, because yet again, another example, it is ruining people's lives, and I don't want it to ruin yours. So yeah, hopefully you found that video helpful, informative in any way. If you liked it, please go give it a like, subscribe if you want, and yeah, thank you so much for watching, mate. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.